Welcome to something that is always highly questionable. It seems like Izzy Gutierrez is always around here. What do you like on the show today, Iz?
Finally. How long have the Raptors been in the playoffs? We finally get a Drake topic today.
Yes, dale, papi.
Should we start believing the Raptors can win this series?
How do you get to Bucks in 6 as your prediction? Right here is the way you do it, because every team throughout history that has been as good as the Bucks, they will win one of the next 2 games or 2 of the next 3 games. They are the favorite. They've been better than the Raptors all season. However, this game plan that they gave you, where they are basically saying, go ahead, any one of you other Raptors beat us. We're going to guard Kawhi Leonard with 3 guys, and we're going to ask the rest of this Raptor team that has a history of choking on behalf of its country to win the game. And last night, they won the game. They made all those shots. Izzy has told you in this series, it's make the shots or miss the shots. Toronto made them in the last 2 games.
That is a heck of an analysis I gave you before, but I'm going to give you some more. This is how the Raptors win it in 6, Dan. It's the same way they kind of figured out the Philadelphia 76ers after those first couple of games, and now they seem to have more variety in how they can score. It's as you mentioned, yes, they take away Kawhi Leonard, but even if they didn't take away Kawhi Leonard, they have different variations. The Bucks offense is Giannis trying to make a spin move every single time, it feels like. And it looks like the Toronto Raptors have a rhythm on how to defend him. Every once in a while, Giannis breaks free and sees the help coming and goes the other way. But I do think that the Raptors have created a formula here. Even if you look at the box score from last night, it's not like all the Bucks shot poorly outside of Malcolm Brogdon, and yet they still lost that game, and they lost that game with a hobbling Kawhi Leonard, scoring only 19 points and barely even touching the ball in the first quarter. I like the Raptors having figured this out and using their variety to win the series.
The Bucks are 22-2 after a loss. It's the best any team has ever been after a loss. The thing to look for, though, is what Izzy is talking about. When Kawhi Leonard guards Antetokounmpo, Antetokounmpo doesn't look very special. It looks like a real young player going up against a guy who knows a little bit more. The numbers, when you look at Kawhi Leonard guarding Antetokounmpo, and he's done it more the last 2 games than he did in the first 2, make Antetokounmpo look like a pedestrian basketball player. That, of course, will end the Bucks.
Are you going to mention him?
Oh, you go ahead and mention him. You go ahead and mention him, baby. Who's your guy, Poppy?
My guy, Fred VanVleet.
Yes,
He was the spark plug.
The spark plug. He was a bulldozer before the show, but now he's a spark plug.
That's right. Every time this guy, the Free Creek, found a crease in the defense, who was there to just plug that hole? Fred VanVleet, my guy. That was the guy that made the difference last night.
You called it.
Your guy Van Vliet, Poppy, what did he say here? Can you read this quote, the quote he gave The Athletic?
It has been a good day, but none of this means anything tomorrow. You guys leave me alone and enjoy your night, and I will see you in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Van Vliet, bringing it, baby!
Bring it home, Van Vliet. That's the guy.
Bring it home.
That's the way champions talk. Was Drake out of line by massaging Nick Nurse?
Have you ever been to someone's home and they simply can't control their pet? Drake is kind of the pet of the Raptors. He does whatever he wants. He's a mascot. He's got an office. He owns now a $220 million private jet, and he's got the run of the place. So during the game yesterday, as Toronto is feeling itself, that's Poppy's guy, Van Vliet. There he is, Van Vliet. Drake is happy about that, and he comes up to Nick Nurse.
I mean, is there outrage about this? Look at the most innocent of contact there. And his seat and Nick Nurse's seat are like 2 feet away from each other. Like, what difference does it make? Didn't 2 Chainz give LeBron a chain after he passed Michael Jordan this year? This is just young Champagne checking in with his boy. It's the best coach he's ever had. He wants to be there and support them. But if you don't think Nick Nurse liked that, did you see how he showed up in Milwaukee last week?
Yeah,
check this out.
He had a guitar on his back.
I mean, come on, man.
Look
if there's
at that.
anybody who's okay with a musician interrupting his coaching game, it's Nick Nurse.
You saw what happened with Jeff Bezos, right? He used to look like a book nerd, and then all of a sudden he got the money, and he looks like a fighter pilot. Look at Nick Nurse, baby. Now that he's winning playoff games, I'm getting off of this plane with a guitar.
I'll tell you what I would have looked like, though, if Drake would have given me a quick neck massage.
Just turn it over. 3-second violation.
That would be my reaction the entire time.
Can't believe it. But I don't.
Do you buy that KD doesn't know who he's signing this summer?
Okay, these are the words of Kevin Durant's agent, not Kevin Durant, and I do believe it for this reason. A few blocks from here, in 2010, when Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade already had announced that they were going to be members of the Miami Heat, they watched that television and they weren't totally sure that LeBron James wasn't going to change his mind at the last minute. They didn't know for sure. KD is going to be recruited here over time. It would behoove him to listen to everybody, to hear what the offers are, to dream about what the possibilities could be. It doesn't make any sense for Kevin Durant to limit his options. He may have an inkling of what he's going to do, but he doesn't need to know right now.
What are we talking about?
I mean, it was wonderful, right?
Oh, KD, right. Look, I do not necessarily believe, I do not necessarily believe that he doesn't know what he's going to do. But I do believe he thinks he has options, that he knows he has options. And I think those are based on winning or losing this championship. If they lose, he goes on his merry way and tries to win with another team. If they win, he says, you know what? And he's a big part of it. I kind of like winning finals MVPs. Maybe I want to win 4 or 5 championships in a row. I like the idea of KD not having decided yet, and I believe his agent about 85%.
My father has never in 50 years been this affectionate with me.
Is Juwan Howard a good choice for Michigan?
You know this guy, Poppy, right? You
I know Juwan Howard, of course.
Yes, he's a Miami Heat assistant and among the more famous names from the greatest basketball era at Michigan when you talk about Jalen Rose and him, and he's done the work that you need to do. Usually guys who come from contracts like him don't do the assistant grunt work. He's done it at the professional level, and even if you question whether or not he can recruit kids as the face of Michigan, which is not something that you should be questioning, even if you do question that, he could get the assistant that knows some of the other things that he doesn't, and he could learn on the job. This would be a perfectly good hire for Michigan, and it's a difficult hire because the last coach they had was exceptional.
For starters, I read on the @MiamiHeatBeat Twitter feed that part of the sales job was, hey, you could be the Jim Harbaugh of the basketball team. Somehow they still got him because that is a terrible sell. But he does have other people behind him. He's got Dwayne Wade tweeting about it. He's got LeBron James talking about it. And I think when you come in with that type of hype, then obviously you're going to be an attractive person for recruits. Look what Penny Hardaway is going to do in Memphis, or is doing in Memphis, drawing these guys over there to that program, which obviously he went to school. I think if you have the backing and you have the work ethic, which you would assume he did coming from this Miami Heat team, that I think it's going to be a successful hire.
There were very few teams in college basketball the last few years that I trusted more to play well than John Beilein prepared teams. Juwan Howard is going to have some difficulty here, not maybe getting the players, because I do believe being this closely linked to that school means something. Having an NBA career as successful as his means something, and he will be able to get players. But to be fundamentally sound, he's got to coach him up, and that's a different thing entirely.
It is also interesting, him just going to college basketball after a career in the NBA, after coaching in the NBA. That's not an area a lot of NBA people love to go back to, whether it's the recruiting or whether it's all the scandals and everything else. The last thing I'd want to see is Juwan Howard on an FBI wiretap a few years from now.
They would have hired Chris Webber, but he's not good at using timeouts.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
It's a good reason.
Where are the lies? Where are the lies?
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
The only way that you get on this show if you're a course design is if you are flawed. So let's see what we have. Oh, this is going to be... Oh, Jesus! Good God, what happened is an excellent question, Poppy.
My Son's TV show is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm.
On ABC.
Time to play the game that left Dan a little present in his bathroom. Do you question?
Don't worry, Dad. It's not what you think. It's weight loss pills. You give us topics and events, and we question them.
The present wasn't little.
Do you question if this should be enough to convince Kuwait to stay in Toronto?
His name is Kawhi. My father's trying to get Kuwait to lift off the ground as a nickname. It has not been successful. Will this get him to stay in Toronto? Because I believe if he does win the championship there, they're not even going to let him through customs. He's going to have to stay there if they win the championship. But will this get him to stay in Toronto?
Welcome back to Toronto, where Raptors Republic is campaigning to keep Kawhi Leonard with the Kawhi and Dine initiative. Their motto, wine 'em, dine 'em, let's re-sign 'em. This is the badge that they've created that local restaurants can display in their windows, signifying that Kawhi Leonard eats free for life. Guys, as of this afternoon, they had 50-plus restaurants already signed up, and Uber and Lyft drivers can now participate. If they display this badge, it offers Kawhi free rides
Look
as well.
at the joy he has on his face for all that free food.
A recording studio, an auto detail shop, and a law firm all on board as well, guys.
I'm pretty sure that is a salary cap violation.
A delicious one, I might add. One that would keep me in Toronto.
I'm also not sure if Kawhi Leonard eats.
I tell you one thing, if you would do that for us, we'll move this show up there. You know?
We will be. Look, listen up. Listen, Prince Edward Island, Edmonton, listen. Free food anywhere, we're there.
Okay.
Do you question if this was a successful flip?
I am very proud that our show leads all of ESPN history and current in covering flips, disastrous flips, failed flips, people hitting their face, people bouncing in ways that aren't human. What do we have here?
For us?
Yeah, look at this guy.
Oh!
All right.
No. He clearly never practiced this and decided to put the first try on video.
Can we slow that down, please? I want you to see where his hands are and how scared his face looks as he lands on the other side and realizes, where's the liquid? Where's the glass? Watch, when he lands, look at where his hands are and the panic on his face.
Yeah. Just come into my hands, please. Nope.
Well, I have seen flips go worse.
No, you have not.
Yes,
No,
I
you have not.
Right.
Oh, Jesus. Good God. Good God. Woof. I'm honestly not sure what's better here. Having that not be sand or having it be sand and you're going to be blowing dust particles out of your nose 2 decades from now.
Do you question if this was a flaw in the course design?
The only way that you get on this show if you're a course design is if you are flawed. So let's see what we have. Oh, this is going to be... Oh, Jesus! Good God, what happened is an excellent question, Poppy.
God, imagine you go through all the work of building that entire course, and that is your first experience.
Let's do it this way. I want you guys again to absorb this. You go through the effort of building that entire course, and then just wait for the sound that reminds you it was all a bad idea. Listen for it. Listen. Oh,
man.
Good God.
Oh, he saw it coming too.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami.
Deny it. I'm a straight rider. You won't want to mess with me. Got the police running at me, but they can do nothing to a G. I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. You won't want to mess up with me. Got the police running at me, but they want to do nothing.
My Son Stevie Show is brought to you by the $5 Nacho Grande box, only at Taco Bell. Time to play the game that watches baseball games when he needs a nap. See or no?
You tell us what to watch on television today. We will give you sleep aids.
Tonight on NBC Sports, Chicago, Phillies and Cubs.
Yesterday, we showed you Bryce Harper throwing the ball 96 miles an hour from deep in right field to get Anthony Rizzo at the plate. He's still in Chicago. He catches a fly ball here, and he decides to troll some fans who want that fly ball.
Sky high right field, Harper. 3 outs.
He's got a big arm. He's got a big arm.
Souvenir for a fan at Wrigley.
No, that was not a souvenir. It was not meant as a souvenir for a fan at Wrigley. It's going to bounce back here and end up being a souvenir for a fan. But like his contract so far, Bryce Harper, disappointing, trying to get it out of the ballpark. Izzy, are you intrigued?
I think we're giving him a hard time. I actually think he tried to get it to people up there, and he just went a little too far there. I mean, it was the 6th inning. They're down 1-0. What's he got to be upset about?
The rare person defending Bryce Harper for reasons that are not needed. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, he should not be doing that to the Cubs fan. He should be doing that to the Phillies fans. They're the ones that they boo him at all the time. You know what I mean? They say boo, 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 boo. Yeah, that's the way you get even.
They don't say it like that at all. No, who boos like that? Who does it in a staccato burst? Okay, boo. Well, that's how you boo. Boo. What? It's very fractured. Shouldn't it be cleaner than that?
3, 2, 1. Boo!
We're moving differently now.
Boo!
There
Boo!
it is.
Boo! 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 Boo!
We're back.
Boo! 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 Boo!
I would go to baseball games to do that.
I would love to hear that if that's how they serenaded me.
In Metairie, Louisiana, Saints OTA.
Saints were really good all of last year. One of the reasons they're good is because Alvin Kamara is a unique specimen. How does he train out there near the swamps? Yeah, this is all core stuff, Izzy. This is like you have to be balanced in order.
He's telling him what color to catch, too, then.
Yeah, that's really hard to do. Yeah, that ball, you're supposed to come out from under there.
Yeah, I'm talking about core work like an expert.
I know what I'm talking about here. My core looks like the ball he's standing on.
Steady, though. Steady.
Ooh. Yeah. That's also the length of all the passes Breeze throws him. Izzy, are you intrigued?
I'm telling you right now, I can do that. I can absolutely do that. Bring a camera to my gym. I will show you I can do it.
Man. He
Guaranteed.
Can't do that.
Guaranteed.
He can't do that. We're not sending a camera crew out there
Fine, I'll
to
film it myself.
your workout. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But do you know what the Saints fans said after that bad call on the playoff?
What's that?
Boo! 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 Boo!
Boom, boom, boom. One more time.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Dan, boom, boom, boom. Come on, Dan.
Boom!
In Green Bay, Wisconsin, Packers OTAs and streaming on HBO, the season finale of Game of Thrones.
Sure, I'll just gaze at Aaron Rodgers lovingly, but he is really mad at the ending of Game of Thrones. Like a lot of the Game of Thrones zealots, they want it rewritten and done over, and here he is telling you what he did in Game of Thrones and his objection to the ending of Game of Thrones.
It wasn't the guy that got burned up, and I'm disappointed in every person who would actually say that was me, because if you watch that person run, they're a total non-athlete. Total non-athlete. And I wasn't the archer either, although that person definitely looked like me. You come down to the end, and Tyrion says the person with the best story is Bran, who, by the way, 3 episodes ago said he wasn't Bran Stark anymore. No, Jon had a better story. Dany had a better story. Arya had a better story. Sansa had a better story. Tyrion had a better story. Varys had a better story. Bronn, a lot better story. Jaime, better story. Cersei, probably better stories. Any Baratheon, better story.
I wish he talked that way about Mike McCarthy's firing. You know who's got a better coach? New York's got a better coach. You know who's got a better coach? Dallas has got a better coach. Izzy, are you intrigued?
Nerd.
Oh, come on.
Never seen the show,
Come
Dan.
on. That makes you the nerd. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But listen, this guy knows a thing or two about bad seasons. You know, he was 6-9-1 last season. You know, that says it all.
I mean, his last season was not a great last season. He's not wrong.
Tonight on Viceland, The Wrestler.
Biggest argument Poppy and I ever had. He told me wrestling's fake, Dan. It's fake. And I was like, it's real. It's real. I was 43 years old. Let's see what we've got here. Did someone just get hit in the face with a sledgehammer? Izzy, are you intrigued?
I am now. Listen, I'm not a big professional wrestling person because that stuff actually looks fake. Everything that happened there looked 100% real. I'm in.
Including the sadness of that Canadian wrestler. If you want to go ahead and just leave that on the screen for the people.
Shirt on.
Yes, that looked a little too real. It looked like sadness at the center of the ring. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, I know someone who should be on that show.
Who? Yes, yes. This guy, we love this guy right here.
That's
Flip
right,
him.
that's right,
Flip him.
That's right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. What do you mean it's not real?
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
I'm not sure who was squeezing whom in that wrestling video. Is it possible the guy who was standing was doing the squeezing?
Boo! 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 Boo!
The Blues from